All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story out of South Florida that is flying under the radar, okay? The mainstream liberal media don't want to touch this, okay, because it don't fit the narrative. It don't fit the narrative, okay? As it involves 5 students who allegedly were jumping other students because they were white. In fact, some of the quotes from the incident claim that one of the students was yelling, hey, this is revenge for what happened in the 1700s. This is revenge for slavery. Okay, now I've argued in the past that this is the natural consequence of teaching racialized history in school, CRT, and just the extremist rhetoric that is coming out of the left in general in regards to race and promoting hatred. Okay, so again, I'm not surprised to see a story like this. So I want to talk about it because, again, I believe that this is a natural consequence of the rhetoric that we're seeing from the left. But before I get into that, I just want to let you guys know that if you like my channel, you like my commentary, you can support my channel using the links in the description below. You can support the Patreon, you can support the PayPal, you can support the merch. There are multiple ways to support the channel if you would like to do so, including getting yourself one of my signature racist mugs, which is a daily reminder of the 2022 definition of racist according to the left, which is anybody who disagrees with the Democrat Party. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play this news clip that is going to give us more details about this incident in which you have 5 students that are now being charged with hate crimes for attacking other students because they're white. Take a look.
Several middle schoolers talking about school facing hate crime charges.
Police say they went after other kids in a racially motivated attack. NBC6 reporter Jamie Garola is live in Coconut Creek. He spoke to parents. What are they saying, Jamie?
Yeah, well, police say the accused kids attacked other students for being white here at this rec center behind me. I spoke with a parent of a suspect and I spoke with a parent of a victim, both in defense of their child, both with 2 different takes on what happened.
I put my hands up so they don't whack my face and stuff. After they jumped me, they said, like, this is like revenge, what they did like in the 1700s. For slavery. Tonight, a student whose father asked us not to show his face describes being attacked by several other students from his middle school before class Wednesday morning at the nearby Coconut Creek Rec Center.
Do you feel safe?
Not really. According to Coconut Creek police, 5 students from Lyons Creek Middle School are charged with a hate crime, accused of going after 4 other students. The reports say the students attacked racially profiled the other kids for being white, allegedly using language like brown power and you are white. That elevated the simple misdemeanor battery to a felony, a charge that outrages one of the parents of the students accused.
Shocking because he's never in trouble. Secondly, I feel like they're trying to ruin these kids' lives.
Precious Lester says the school principal told her the fight started with the kids playing, but the police report describes the group using, quote, their hands, feet, and phone chargers to hit the students and being slapped in the head with an open palm and closed fist.
They told me there were videos. I asked to see the videos. I haven't yet to see the videos. Also, my child was at the Coconut Creek Police Department from about 9:30, 10 o'clock that morning up until 7:30 last night, and I wasn't even informed. So he was being questioned without a parent even being available.
Meanwhile, the dad of a victim says he's nervous sending his son back to school.
They can't do anything to other kids because it didn't happen on school property. He wants to go back to school there because all his friends are there, but he doesn't feel safe. There's an opportunity to move out, but that seems like a punishment.
All right, now Broward County Schools responded saying that this was an off-campus incident, but still, the principal of the school did issue a robocall saying that even though this incident happened off-campus, they do everything to ensure safety of the students when they return to class. Reporting live tonight in Coconut Creek, Jamie Garola, NBC6 News.
All right, guys, so you've seen that, you heard that. And you know what I find to be fascinating about a lot of this stuff, just in general when it comes to these hate crimes? Most of the hate crimes that I cover and that I've talked about have been hate crimes that are fake, okay? Like Juicy Smollett, for example. But when we talk about hate crimes committed by students, whether it's high school students or middle school students, most of the time the story goes like this, right? Somebody spray painted some random thing, okay, on school walls like KKK, some swastika, something like that, okay? And most of the time, once the police actually investigate who did it. They find out that the person who did it wasn't actually white. They were black, right? Or they just were non-white, okay? And most of the time, those incidences are characterized as, well, they were fake hate crimes, okay? Because the student that did it wasn't necessarily white, okay? Now, lo and behold, in a situation like this, again, what I find to be fascinating is how when the police actually investigated the incident, they didn't find out that, hey, this is not really a hate crime. This is a better explanation for what happened. No, they actually investigated. It was like, you know what? This actually is a hate crime. Again, as you have 5 students, presumably, that are non-white, that were attacking other students because they're white, right? They were saying things like brown power. And this is revenge for what happened in the 1700s, okay? This is revenge for slavery. Now, at first, I was skeptical, okay? I was skeptical because I was like, brown power, that's a new one. I ain't never heard of that one before. What? Black power would have made a lot more sense to me. But then I looked deeper into this, and the surnames for a lot of the students were Hispanic, okay? So that actually made sense, okay? And it makes sense in the context of how, when it comes to the left and their racialized language, how they try to box in all non-white people as, well, you're people of color, right? You're black and brown, right? So I'm like, okay, I guess I can see how it makes sense, how a group of students, some of whom are probably Hispanic, some of whom are probably black or, non-white, whatever, right? How a few of them can be yelling brown power, okay? Because they may have been brainwashed into saying stuff like that, right? That may be the new thing now, brown power, okay? For people that are not black, but also not white, that are in the middle, right? Brown, okay? So yeah, with that being said, again, it's not really funny, right? It's not something to laugh at. I'm just basically mocking the ridiculous rhetoric from the left. But on a serious note here, if this is true, which I don't know if it's actually true in terms of whether or not it's actually hate crime, whether or not I actually said that, the police are alleging that this is true, that this is what was said. So as of right now, the only thing I can do is go along with what the police are saying. In my opinion, this is a natural consequence of the racialized rhetoric from the left. Okay, and this is exactly why you don't want toxic ideologies like CRT and racialized history being taught in schools, because this is what they're teaching kids, okay? They're teaching kids to see people that are white as the other, okay? They're teaching them to see them as inherently evil because of what happened in the past when it comes to slavery. Guys, we've all heard it. The people on the left, the wokes, they're obsessed with slavery. They won't let slavery go. We're 200 and some years removed from it, and they're still talking about it, right? And they want kids to talk about it in school. They want kids to talk about it in a way that's overtly racial. They say, oh, no, the white man is inherently evil because of what happened with slavery, and all the white people that are alive today are responsible for that, okay? Even though most white people today, they're alive in the U.S., their ancestors had nothing to do with slavery, right? They didn't own slaves, right? They were either poor or their families immigrated over here after slavery, okay? That's a vast majority of white people, okay? But again, that's not the nuance that's being taught to kids in school when it comes to stuff. What they're actually being told, whether that's, again, in school or whether they're on social media, listen to some of these woke people on TV, what they're being told is that, no, white people are inherently evil and that they are responsible, right, for slavery, okay? That's what they're being told. So again, it's hard for a middle schooler to be able to use nuance and to realize that, okay, well, my neighbor is not necessarily responsible for slavery. But again, kids aren't necessarily getting that nuance because the rhetoric that they're being told is so extreme. And again, I've made this argument so much. The far left rhetoric, especially when it comes to race, is creating extremists. Okay, that's why you saw the BLM guy, okay, try to assassinate a Democrat politician, a mayoral candidate out there in Louisville. Well, the reason why is because he's been radicalized. He's been radicalized by all the racialized rhetoric coming from groups like Black Lives Matter. They're creating radicals in this country. I'm telling you. But see, if you listen to the woke mainstream media, you wouldn't know that. You would think that the only radicals in this country, the only extremists in this country are far right white supremacists. Okay? That is who we need to be worried about. When you actively have people that are becoming extremists on the left, whether it's through, again, rhetoric from groups like BLM, Antifa, etc., or even things they're learning in school. In my opinion, if this is true, that is where this stuff comes from. That is why these kids would do something like this, if what they say is true. Now, again, I really don't know. Only thing I can go off of is the fact that the police thought that it was legitimate enough and that there was enough evidence to actually charge these kids with a hate crime. And I know that they don't really do that willy-nilly, okay? They don't do that unless they actually know or they're convinced that it was motivated by race. So I'm sure that the police are convinced that this was motivated by race, okay? So this is an interesting story, and I'll probably keep following it because I actually want to see what happens here, right? I want to see if, you know, maybe these charges get dropped or whether something changes, because I can see how this could be an incident which kids were joking around, or maybe it's a joke that went too far, because I did read about how some of the kids were saying it's opposite day or something like that, and maybe they was just like, hey, we're just gonna, you know, mess with a whole bunch of white students just because, or we're gonna joke around, and maybe that elevated the situation. Okay, maybe it wasn't actually motivated by hate or anything like that. Maybe it was just a joke going too far. I could see that with kids. I really don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of speculation here. There's a lot of things I don't know, but what we do know is what the police are saying. And they're convinced that it wasn't necessarily a joke, that it was a serious thing. Serious enough to actually charge them with a hate crime. But I'm just saying, I'm not surprised to see stories like this. Okay, I'm not surprised to see stories like this. Based off, again, the radicalization that the left has pushed on kids in school and impressionable young people who are believing that they're victims and that the white man is evil and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.